Morning, everyone. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the City of San Angelo Development Corporation to be held on February 28th, 2024, at 8:30 a.m. at the East Mezzanine of City Hall, 72 West College Avenue, San Angelo, Texas, for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. Number one, we'll call the meeting to order. It is 8:36, and we were running a little late just because we were taking some board pictures this morning, so apologize for the late start. Number two, prayer. Dr. Jones, will you please lead us in prayer?
Sure. Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. You're a great God. Everything that we have comes from you. We thank you and praise you for all that you bless us with here in this fair city. Ask that you would guide our deliberations and actions this morning to give you honor and glory. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Number three, public comment. Issues or items that are not on the agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium, begin by stating their name, and limit remarks to less than 3 minutes. Board members may request that a discussed item be placed on a future agenda. The board takes public comment on all regular agenda items during the discussion of those items. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none, I'll just take a quick second to make a public comment and just to acknowledge Dr. Jones, Director Mantooth, and Director Spano, and congratulations or condolences for being reappointed for another 2-year term. Thank you for your service. We'll move on to item number 4, the consent agenda. Item A, consider approving the necessary corporation disbursement. B, consider approving the regular meeting minutes of January 24, 2024. C, consider approving the January 2024 financials. D, consider approving the updated City of San Angelo Development Corporation disbursement policy. And E, consider approving a lease agreement by and between the City of San Angelo Development Corporation and Branded Companies, LLC, and authorizing the board president or their designee to execute all necessary documents. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a first by Director Mantooth, second by Dr. Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to item 5, the regular agenda. A, discussion and board direction regarding funding splash pad for the community. Presentation by Michael Dane.
Good morning, Michael Dane, Interim Economic Development Director. A few months back, we had a presentation about the splash pads initiative that's going on around the city. The board was very interested in hearing about that, and today is to revisit that topic and see if the board has direction for staff. And so, again, another concept discussion. This is not action today, but if the board feels one way or another, staff would be interested in hearing what that direction is. The possibilities being we want to sit on this for a little while or bring us back something for action at a soon council meeting. I think preliminarily this comes, I think Brandon's done a little research. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you think about eligibility?
Yeah, so the Act has a authorized project for recreational or community facilities, which can include a whole host of things, but specific to this, public park purposes, park facilities, and things related to that. So I think it would be an authorized project, and I don't think it's one that is like our typical ones where we have to create, retain jobs, because this is a public facility, and we would just need to have some direction on the amounts so that we can bring it back for a public hearing and have, the authorized amount as part of that so the public can speak to it.
We have, in our minds, characterized this as a quality of life initiative. Quality of life, as you recall, is one of the 3 strategic priorities for the organization. In fact, I think Dr. Jones was telling us about previous experience he'd had where he was in a community where they were successful in attracting companies, but quality of life became an issue for where those executives bought their homes. And so his comment to us yesterday was quality of life is important. And so we feel like it is a quality of life item, that it qualifies, And so I think that leaves you free to consider where you think the value is. I believe the splash pad folks are here to answer questions. If you
Michael, I'd
have-
like to ask you a question first, if I could. I have word from someone close to council that the land was donated to the splash pad project on the, only if the remainder of the funds were raised from private sources. Does that disqualify us from donating cash to this project?
That's a good question. I don't know what the specifics were associated with the land. I know that the language about fundraising from private sources was part of the language in that initial council action. Recently, the splash pad folks gave an update to council on their fundraising efforts. And the topic of approaching COSA-DC came up. And I think council's response was that board should make its decision based on what its feeling is for the project, and then we will consider their action as we normally do. I don't know about specifically tying all of the funds to non-public funds as a condition of the use of the land. If that is true, then I would assume that council can reverse that if they choose. So I think that's something for us to look at.
Yeah, I'd have to look
And
into
if
that.
that's necessary, something for council to consider,
So
if we take something.
It does not prohibit us from making our own recommendation.
I don't think it would prohibit us. It might, if that condition exists, it might require an additional step at the council level.
Okay.
In other words, COSA-DC has agreed to fund this. Council, does that change this previous action? That would be something for us to work out when this would move to the council level.
Thank you.
You've used up your quota for difficult questions for the day.
Well, I'll hold my next question till next month.
Well, I would say, can we get an update from Jeff and team on kind of where we are with the project since they last spoke to us a few months ago? Rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, so my name is Jeff Perron. So where we stand now is we have raised the funds to produce the first splash pad at Unidad. We are hoping to start ground break in about 3 to 4 weeks. We're still pushing. We've come up with another $50,000 donor match from Snyder IT. They're interested in helping as well. So we got a few more big players involved to push forward for the next project, which is going to be the Kirby Park. So that's, I guess, where we stand right now as far as funds raised.
So Jeff, do you have a number that you're gonna need to get the second park done?
Yeah, so we're looking at about probably 400 to 450,000. I don't have that, just with the donor match that we just recently had and a few others. I need to get some facts on that, on what's remaining for sure, but we're, as a whole, it's about that. Questions, concerns, comments?
Well, and then,
Would you, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just for the first project, since you have that funding, what was the funding for the first project? How much was that total?
Right at 400,000.
Okay, so both together be about 800 or so?
Yeah, they're both locations are fairly similar. The only thing that's gonna change is, so the location of it, you know, if we have any construction issues of where the tanks are gonna be buried, some of that stuff, that changes the evaluation of the project. But ultimately, the parks themselves are very similar. And it's just basically it's the structural details of what we might encounter as far as what's being installed. So there should be very similar.
No, that answered my question.
Oh, that-
The
okay.
cost of the first
Yeah,
project.
cool. Anybody else? Okay.
May I speak on his question?
Sure, absolutely.
So, I'd like everybody to possibly understand on what we came forth to and asked for at the beginning. We asked for some help on this project through the city. And in response to that, it was, right now, we just don't have the funds available. So we're welcome to work with y'all and try to help make this project happen by donating the land. But I don't know that I recall a situation. I think there might have been a little bit of a, like, well, if the city can't get involved, then we'll publicly make this happen and, try our hardest to make it happen. But as far as,
Yeah, so
is that any
Tina,
thoughts?
she found the resolution, sent it to me, and looking at it, I mean, it talks about supporting the private fundraising efforts, but there's no condition that applies to like this board and given public funding. I mean, it doesn't like condition the property in any way.
No, we were
other
just-
than supporting the private
Yeah.
fundraising effort.
that's what I would believe as well. Like, we're just in understanding that they didn't have the funds to help us. So when you don't have the funds to help, then you don't ask for the help, you figure out how to do it yourself. And that's where we came in, and we're like, well, if you can't help us, we're gonna hit the ground running and try to find people that can. When this came about, that's why we came to y'all. Y'all are another, set of people and, members of the, residents and of the community that can help and help make a difference. So that's why we presented to y'all, trying to find those funds. We're new at this. This is we're not normally operating a nonprofit organization, but we stepped up to do it, and I think we've done very well coming up with $400,000 between myself and two others. So,
You're doing a great job, and we're gonna sign you up for some other fundraising.
well, and I'll do more projects. You help produce the funds, and we can make a lot more happen. I just, like I said.
Jeff, I want to tell you
I'm on the
that,
board to do whatever.
one of the things I've always loved about San Angelo, Texas, is that when we see a need in our community, we just get it done. We don't wait for other people we don't wait for public funds to come in and build it for us. We just get it done.
Right.
San Angelo Museum of Fine Art, the Tom Green County Library, San Angelo Performing Arts Center, just a few of the projects I'm thinking of that we just went out and got the money and raised it and did it. And so I am firmly behind what you're doing. I look around at some of the other towns, much smaller than ours, that have built multiple splash pads in their communities, and I know that the city and county funds were the ones that built those. And so I'm firmly behind your project and would love to see how we can help you.
Well, we appreciate it. Like I said, I'm operating this as similar as I'd operate my business. Someone comes in and I try not to say no, I just get it done. So that's kind of how we're operating. So thank you all for your time. Anything else?
Yeah, I do have one question.
Yes,
Remind
sir.
us, just by the way, it's been a few months or a couple of months since we spoke or you spoke to the board, what the city's role is after the project is completed. I
Yes,
believe
sir.
there's
So,
a maintenance aspect of it.
Yes, sir. So, the land has been donated through the city. We are going to erect and build the splash pad and have an up and operational facility. Once the facility is built, then the city of San Angelo has brought on an employee that will maintain the city pool, and then also that role would be to maintain the splash pads. So the maintenance of the splash pads would include checking for TCEQ standards, every 4 hours, coming by, filtration, replacements, some maintenance of cleaning and back flushing and some of that. But the city's taking the role of, once we build this, we're donating it back, and they've taken the responsibility for upkeep. And that has already been approved through the city.
Yeah, that's acknowledged in the resolution. They even have an estimated amount at $87,000 for that maintenance and,
Yeah, and I do believe that 87 is conjoined a little bit maybe with the pool as well, but I'm not positive about that, but yes.
Does that
sir.
also include water use?
Excuse me?
Does that also include the cost of water use?
I don't know that for sure. The water use there is gonna be usage, there's no doubt about that, but it should be very minimal due to the fact the system that we are doing is a recirculating system. So the water use should be very minute, but I don't know that, sir, I apologize.
yeah, it doesn't
I don't know
address
if
it
that
in this.
Yeah, the city is taking the responsibility of operating that, but I don't know if that budget includes the cost of the water.
But their promise does include the cost of the water? Yes. Yeah, okay.
So just to be clear, you're building these on city park land, right?
Yes, sir.
So in essence, once you're done, they will become part of that city park.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, the city will take responsibility for maintaining that as they do the rest of that park in perpetuity, right?
Yeah. Hopefully they make me proud too, because I'd like it cut nice. Putting a lot of effort into this, I would love for not just the maintenance of it, but just the, of the structures and some of that as they, they have a long life expectancy, but still, anything vandalized, I'm hoping. And if not, I'll do my part to get it back up, I just want them to continue to be operated nicely and fairly and for the community to be able to use.
All right. Any other discussion or questions from the board? No? All right. So Michael, so at this point, are you looking for a motion from the board or just a plan of action?
Thanks. If the board has a motion they want to make, now would be a good time. If you've got more questions, we'd be glad to try to field those.
Just the way we worded on the agenda, I don't think we can actually take action, but definitely a consensus of the board direction, and then we'll bring it back for a public hearing to authorize the project.
Thank you. Good point. I knew that 2 minutes ago.
What he said.
Yes. So,
So is that a motion? I'm just kidding.
so feel positive about the project. You want to do something.
Yes.
I think what we want to know is what kind of dollars are you talking about?
My opinion's 150.
What's the basis for that?
It's just a beautiful number. 150 is a beautiful number.
It's not 200, it's not 100.
It's a third of what they're
Yeah,
looking for.
it's not 200, it's not 100, right? It's, well, exactly what he was about to say. When you look at some of the larger donors that have come in, this puts us right in the ballpark of doing, not funding all of it, but doing just enough to where, we felt like we played a large role in getting this second one done. And I think 150 is probably a number that a majority of folks would be happy with. I think if we went any lower than 150, maybe some of us wouldn't be happy with it. And I think if we went higher, maybe some other folks wouldn't be happy with it. And I think we're meeting in the middle. And I think 150 is, I think 150,000 would be appreciative to the folks that are raising money.
I'm good with that.
So in terms of source of funds, don't we have some fund balance or some excess interest that we've earned that is a little bit more than that amount that could be put towards this project?
You're right. Last year, we, because of increased interest rates, our interest income beat the budgets by a sizable amount. At this point in this fiscal year, that has gone to fund balance. And so your fund balance is up a little because of that particular item and others. This year, you're probably going to beat your interest budget again, but you do have approximately, I think we've made one transfer, and so you're in future projects line, you're down to 1.9 million and change. If at the next meeting you committed another 150, we'd take it out of that future projects line and go from there. But you're right, you did beat interest. I'm not sure we beat it by 150 last year, but we also came in under for administrative expenses.
Smart lady right behind you probably has that answer.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. I was looking at the interest as well, but yeah, we'll take the,
Just real
Got it.
quick, Tina Deersky, Board Treasurer. Last year, you were over your interest on investments revenue line by just over $200,000, $200,652.
Thank you.
Salaries and benefits was also under by $240,000.
So your memory's correct, we did beat those amounts, beat the budget on both those items by a sizable amount, and that did go to fund balance.
Okay.
So,
So do you need have
Do
we
you need a
made a formal
motion?
motion?
well, I don't think we're making
no
one.
formal motion,
Just
but
to
if
give you
everybody's,
direction.
Yeah, just direction.
if you guys are good with 150, we'll kind of ferret out the details and bring back something for action next time, get the clock ticking. I think we've got some publication.
And Michael, I think that if you guys were to bring back a bigger number that makes better sense after looking at it, I don't think I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I like
But
the
I think-
150 number.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm kind of right there. That's halfway towards the second project with the 50 they already have. Not a bad number.
All right. I think we've got what we need.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Michael.
And of course, a big thanks to
Yeah, thank
to
you, Jeff and
his
team.
crew for the fundraising they've done.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. All right. We'll move on to item B, update regarding Skyline Hangar renovation project, presentation by Bob Schneeman.
Morning, Board. Bob
Morning.
Schneeman, Economic Development Project Manager. I'm going to catch us up on slides here. There we go. This is an update on the Skyline Hangar project. The Board may recall that this is a public-private partnership to renovate an existing hangar at the airport and also to add a fixed base operator, sort of lounge and office area. Got some pictures to show you the progress. The board committed $3 million, not to exceed $3 million for the project, and it's well underway. I'm real happy with the progress the contractor's making. To date, they have done asbestos removal of the main hangar and the parachute building. They've done the east wing demolition. They've demolished the parachute building, interior demolition of the west wing of the building. They've reskinned the outside of the hangar. It's looking really good. Put new metal over the previous metal siding. They had poured a slab for the new FBO addition, and we're doing rental car parking lot demo and tree removal. And since I prepared this slide, they've actually started standing steel out there for the addition. So they're moving right along. There's a picture showing, the upper left shows the parachute building gone. It used to be right behind that great big tree. Matter of fact, you can see where the excavator is still standing there on the rubble from the slab. And the other picture is just some clearing that was done in the parking lot, making way for the rental car parking. This again is more of the exterior demolition. Here's some pictures of the new skin on the hangar. You've got the south end of the hangar there shown with the doors open, the front view, and then the east side of the hangar where you still see this plastic moisture barrier there. That's where the new addition's going. They're also doing a lot of utility work in preparation for the new slab. There's the pump pouring the concrete for the new slab, and there's a good picture there of the overall, what the hangar looks like overall, sort of with the new painting and the new skin on the building. Also, just going to throw this one in here. That's the construction trailer and support facilities for the new ASU pilot training facility, which is going to be right next door to the hangar. They've moved that in. They've got their fence up, and they're getting ready to break ground. I'd entertain any questions y'all might have.
Any questions for the board?
If I could, Max? Bob is out there on a regular basis, obviously, checking on progress. And we've already had one board member say, I'd like to get out on the airport again and have a look around. We could arrange, that could be a future field trip, or if you just put a bug in Bob's ear, let me know the next time you're going to be out there, I'll come and ride with you if that's all right. since he's out there all the time anyway, not all the time, out there regularly, there's room in that pickup to take a few of y'all. But it is very interesting to see that go up. Once they dug that hole, and then once they started pouring, it seems like they're really moving.
Yeah, they've done an incredible amount of work really for the time that they've been at it. The subgrade for that addition was probably 4 feet deep or better. They had to remove the material, bring in new material, recompact it and everything. Got all the under slab utilities and everything done. Poured the slab. We kind of kept track of them as they were pouring the slab. They did a real good job on that, including keeping it wet while it was curing. And I think they've done a really good job. I really do.
So if you want to go, give us a call. Let us know.
Yeah, I
Bob,
usually try
what
to go at least once a week. So.
What is your target date for completion?
Sorry.
What is your target date for completion?
They were looking at August. They had some delays for some unexpected sewer problems and stuff. So probably September of this year.
So March of '25?
Sorry?
So March of '25?
Yeah. 2 weeks.
So just by point of clarification, both of these were business retention and expansion projects, correct?
That's correct. Both of these would be considered business retention and expansion.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the update. We'll move on, I guess, to item C, if there's no other questions. Thank you, Bob. San Angelo Chamber of Commerce presentation regarding marketing efforts, including recruitment and BREP-specific procedures. Presentation by Michael Looney.
Good morning, Board. Michael Looney, I'm the VP of Economic Development for the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce. Glad to be here with Walt Koenig, President and CEO of the Chamber, along with Mike Berry, who's my partner over at the Chamber of Commerce. And good to be with you all this morning. As you all know, the City of San Angelo Development Corporation is the primary major partner with the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Department, working on a variety of economic development projects, mainly focused on the recruitment of new industry and the support of existing incumbent industry, which we call BRE. What we're going to do is talk a little bit about how we do what we do. And I think there are some really good questions about that get asked from time to time. And it's kind of easy for us as a chamber and as a co-CDC and as a co-CDC board to know very well what we're doing. We're very good at it. We're, as we say, sometimes we're in the engine room below the waterline doing what we do. But I think it's important for the public and for our supporters and for industry that might be tuning in today to understand a little bit about how we do collectively, co-CDC and the Chamber, that which we do. So marketing and advertising. So you have marketing, you have advertising, recruiting, expansion, and these efforts are distinct, but they're interrelated aspects of promoting business assets in an economic development venture. So let's look at marketing. Marketing is a broader strategic process that involves identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer needs, so the companies that we're focused on. We want to know what do they want, not what we want for them, but what do they want, what are their desires. This focuses on understanding the target market, developing a brand identity, which we do, conducting market research, which is intense, and creating a comprehensive strategy to position the business effectively within the community. And for our purposes, the goal here is to showcase the overall appeal and advantages of our region and business environment by highlighting infrastructure, workforce, quality of life, and other factors that, including splash pads, that make our location attractive for business and residents. Advertising. Advertising is a specific subset of marketing that involves creating and distributing promotional messages through various channels such as print, digital, broadcast, and social media. We have some examples of that we'll show you here in a little bit. It's a tactical tool within the broader marketing strategy. It's about creating awareness and generating interest through communication to a targeted audience to influence perceptions and behaviors. This is where we promote specific initiatives, incentives, and our success stories to attract businesses and investors and talent. Recruitment. Seek and attract talent in business. With recruitment, we are actively seeking and attracting individuals, talent, businesses to become part of our workforce and part of our community by identifying and engaging and persuading potential candidates. So we focus on those prospects that will contribute to the economic growth of our region, but not at the expense of incumbent businesses, which we're all very sensitive about. And this is through personalized engagement. So our focus is not to recruit at all costs to the detriment of our incumbent industries, our incumbent enterprises. And that's a balance, and we have to be very careful with that balance. So expansion. This is expansion of existing incumbent enterprises. This involves strategies to retain existing businesses within our region and support their growth and their further development. We focus here to concentrate our efforts on identifying and recognizing, again, their needs, with the primary goal of not just encouraging expansion and growth, but also preventing them from relocating to other regions. So we want to prevent that leakage. Any questions on this slide? No? Kind of pretty self-explanatory, but good to review. Maximizing impact. Economic development remains, as you all know, a relationship-based industry. Marketing. From a marketing perspective, first, we develop our annual plan of action, which we all review. Staff and at the Chamber and at COCDC work on it together, so we build it together. And this is where we develop our strategic options from an external, internal analysis. And this is through brainstorming and developing ideas to generate strategies and then tactics. We start with an external environmental analysis of threats and opportunities and identify what the constraints are. The overall goal is to help make decisions better, seize opportunities, and protect our organizations and communities against threats. Of utmost importance is our digital front door. And these are marketing techniques that see an increase in their effectiveness as they're used more and more. And we focus on digital tools that include having a robust internet web presence, very robust social media presence, media relationships, public relations. And these are really key to our continued mission of relationship building and awareness building. Any questions on this slide? If you have any questions, feel free to stop me. We can certainly discuss in more detail. So today's successful marketing campaigns are really more rifle shots. They are directed at well-researched targets that are specific with snackable messages. Furthermore, data has to be a major component of any economic development program, and understanding what that data means and how it can be used to promote the community is essential. And this is something we find with industry, is that a lot of the messages that certain communities and certain sectors of the economy might want to promote, which are very valuable, may not necessarily be what an industrial enterprise wants to learn about the community. So we use a lot of data. Ultimately, the customer we are trying to influence has the final say. It is their decision to agree with us, locate or expand their business in our community, and do what needs to be done. People will not choose a location based only on what we think is important, but any advantage our community has only matters if the customer values it. Our customer values data, growth data. But the key is that our community must understand its value proposition, not only from the eye of the beholder, but through our own eyes. So we have to understand that message that we're promoting to industry. And overall, the key in marketing is an honest assessment that narrows the focus to industrial sectors that fit our community's profile, not a broad industry list based on desires or on fads. So we want to present facts. So advertising. It's the second tier there. When it comes to advertising, Beyond a web-based landing page, LinkedIn is the #1 social media outlet for business, and we use that a lot, and it's been very, very useful. Access to comprehensive workforce statistics surpasses incentives, and that's been proven in the past couple of years with surveys of site selectors and scouts that work for industry. And some of the most successful features include workforce statistics, incentive information, demographic information, a searchable database of available buildings and sites, which we have, quality of life information, and lists of major employers. We have invested time and money into providing all of these features, offering top-notch, accurate, and industry-standard data. Recruitment. So this is where we're bringing new industry into the orbit of San Angelo. So regarding recruitment, our focus is on the traded industries. It is upon these industries that our entire economy is based. Today's site selection decisions are based primarily, again, on data that support our community's claims that we have a talented and well-trained workforce and available facilities and available land. This is why we invest in data and research very heavily, and that is to pinpoint companies that fit our needs, assets, and geography. Expansion. This is the incumbent industry that we have in San Angelo. The leading sources of information that influence perceptions of an area's business climate include regular dialogue with industry peers, including site visits and business-to-business networking. So that's outreach to our incumbent industry very regularly. Media articles of economic development successes and economic development interest. Internet and websites, that's again our digital front door. And social media continues to rise in influence. With LinkedIn being very specific, we find that is very, very useful and utilized by industry and site selectors. So if our business leaders and residents do not believe our community's value proposition, then it will be difficult for any of our prospects to believe our value proposition. And so what is our value proposition? It is to deliver access to product, workforce, and an efficient time to market, the speed of business. So I'm going to go through some specific examples of our retention and expansion efforts in the next slide. What we did is we put together a collage, some visuals, to show some examples of site visits that we've conducted in the past year. I'm not going to go through every one in any detail, but if you have any questions about them, you certainly can ask me to pause and we can give you a little bit more insight. Principal Sloan, an incumbent industry. Principal Sloan used to be Principal LED. Before that, it was Agilite. And they've grown to a position where we have helped them with one expansion, assisting them with another expansion. And they currently, through their acquisition of Sloan Industries, now have 50% global market share of the internal LED component manufacturing sector. That's in the United States. A component of that was relocated from China to the United States, a phenomenon we know as reshoring, which is very good for our economy and very good for our country. Rosenberger, this is a company based in Friedolfen, Germany. They relocated a factory from eastern Pennsylvania to San Angelo last year. It is about 80% operational. It's up on Tractor Trail Drive. That's up near Howard College. They're a manufacturer of electronic components, mainly connectors at this facility that are used in telecommunications, aviation, and defense. SMC Global, this is the company, we like to call it the company that keeps on giving. About every 2 years, they go through another expansion. This started off in 2017 as a request for a temporary 5,000 square foot warehouse facility for ISO totes. And through our relationship building and explaining what our community can do for their company, they have now completed their 4th expansion in San Angelo. And we have a video here that we'll show in a couple of minutes that highlights the grand opening of their newest facility on Dan Hanks Lane. This is a hydrolyzation facility, mostly oil field chemicals, although this company makes, similar to other companies that are like Dow Chemicals, they make a multitude of different types of industrial chemicals. Taka, Texas, a company that's been in San Angelo since the 1950s. They're one of the largest manufacturers and packers of pickled okra products. Their vegetables come from Mexico, from southern Mexico. They have been up on off Bell Street for many years. It's a very large facility. We're working with them currently, which you'll learn about soon, on an expansion. Dan Hill Containers. This is a container manufacturer. They do custom packaging. These aren't just typical moving boxes. These are custom boxes used by a variety of different industrial sectors with a variety of different tolerances and strengths, including waterproofing. Double J Lamb, this is a company that we, COCDC, the county, and the chamber worked very closely together to help rescue. This was a company called Mountain States Rosin. It's now been reflagged Double J Lamb of Texas. This, as you may remember, was a lamb packing company that was put in a very difficult situation in Greeley, Colorado, where a offshore company bought their facility that they'd been in for 40 years out from underneath them. And they came to us asking for whatever help we could offer, and that help was in the form of the former lamb packing facility out on City Farm Road that had been vacant for at least 20 years. The company has invested approximately $10 million into that facility. It is functioning, and it is working very well. Goodyear, company that's been here in San Angelo since 1946, and we talk to them regularly. Kevin Mesa, who is their director at the facility, about new projects and new programs that they're conceptualizing for potential expansion of this facility. Bimeda, this is a company that specializes in animal livestock vaccines. We are working with them. This is an Irish company. It used to be called Texas Vet Labs. Texas Vet Labs was bought by Bimeda, Ireland, and we are currently in the process of working with them on a long-term expansion plan for their campus just off Bell Street. Anodyne Wool. This is a company that has been in San Angelo for decades. One of those core foundational companies that utilizes regionally sourced fibers, wool fibers, and one of their largest customers is the Department of Defense. So if any of you have ever been in the service or are thinking of going into the service, you will likely be issued wool clothing and wool blankets. They most likely came from Anodyne Wool. Aegis Cabinets. This is a kind of a newcomer. This is a company that was started by a guy named Mike Kelly. This is a company that makes very high-grade cabinets that are really AV, audiovisual systems for business and for the home. And we've been working with Aegis Cabinets on their long-term expansion plan. It's a successful company, mainly online ordering and design, and these are probably some of the biggest state-of-the-art, some of the most best-made state-of-the-art AV cabinet systems in the world. In fact, last year they won a CETA award for the quality of their products. And then Allen's Transport. This is a company based in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Again, started off as a kind of an offshoot to a company that we tried to recruit back in 2018 called LSPI Chemical out of Bryan, Texas. We thought it would be a really great idea for us to have another sister company pull alongside SMC Global, a company that manufactures drag-reducing agents, which are used in interregional pipelines. In the 500,000 square foot factory in Bryan, Texas, they regrettably said, we really can't move that. It took them 50 years to build it as to what it is now. But they said, why don't you talk to the company that does our custom hauling for us, based out of Canada? And that's Allen Fandrick, Allen's Transport. And they recently have acquired and are now greatly expanding their facility on Gas Plant Road. You might remember, they purchased 12 acres in the industrial park circa 2018. I don't remember the exact date, with aspirations of building a full chemical distribution, intercept, and terminal with offices. They were 3 days away from letting that contract. There was a former energy facility that was available that just came on the market on Gas Plant Road, and they bought it and immediately began the process of retrofitting that property and then taking issue of it and moving into it. Dragon Industries, this is a company that came to us. We worked very closely with the real estate agent who was given the task of trying to find a buyer for the former National Oil Well Varco facility up on Sideview Road, that's US 87. So as you're coming from the north into San Angelo, it's a very large facility on the east, on your left-hand side. Dragon Industries is based out of Beaumont, Texas. They have 38 locations throughout the United States and Canada, and they are steel component fabricators. In 2018, they bought the NOV facility for cash, and we have been working with them ever since to help upstand the facility and really increase their amount of talent that they're able to curate and absorb from the local ISD, Howard College, and a little bit from Angelo State University. And that's a picture of me and Mike at their facility in Beaumont, Texas. Tricor Steel, this is a company that is a local company. They make a variety of steel products, but they've really found a big niche in the manufacture of attenuation barriers that are bought by the Department of Transportation throughout the United States. And then you look at SME Prime. This is a program that Mike Berry kicked off before he even came to work for the Chamber, when he still worked at Ethicon. He became the Chamber's board member and liaison to the Society of Manufacturing Engineers Educational Foundation Program. And this is the program that really serves as the platform for the bridge between industry and academia and training for young students to vector into the steel fabrication and the technology sector. It's been a very successful program. SAISD, as you may remember, is only the second high school in Texas to have a dedicated SME Prime program. Apex Energy, Apex Angelo Solar, this is a project that, as some of you may know, some may not, the Chamber of Commerce also is contracted by Tom Green County to act as the economic development branch of the county. They don't have an internal economic development office, so we do that for them. So we do a lot of work in the county. A lot of that work is centered around the energy sector, specifically the solar power sector. The Apex Angelo Solar is a 200 megawatt AC power plant that is almost complete out on 2288. And that project, although it doesn't derive a whole lot of benefit directly to the city's coffers, it actually has had an effect in that our reputation within the renewables community has translated into projects that are now looking within city limits related to the renewable sector. And those are battery energy storage systems. They're very expensive systems. They derive a very strong tax yield to the municipality. So again, going back to what I said earlier, it's the relationship building and the reputation sustainment of San Angelo and of our collaborative mission that really is driving our business and increasing the level of communication, recruitment successes, and expansion successes. We were recently featured by a company called Local Intel. There's an article in front of you that you can read later that was written by Local Intel, Dave Parcell, and it is Data-Driven Marketing, San Angelo's strategy to shine in the crowd. We didn't write it, but I presume we influenced it. in that Dave Parcell is a economic development support expert whom we know through several trade shows that we've gone to. We've gotten to know him very well. And his main focus is the collation of data to create a web-based, data-driven storytelling platform so that communities can best communicate their real strengths, aspirational, and those that they currently are really good at. We do have a couple of videos we're going to show you. This is
Oil and gas is obviously a
SMC
major
Global.
part of the San Angelo economy. We're very pleased that we built a relationship with SMC Global leadership. They started off in a relatively small space, 25,000 square foot building, and one of their regional developers with the company, actually, it was kind of funny, he called me a couple of days after they moved into the building, and he said, "We've got a problem." Of course, my heart sank, and I thought, oh no, what happened? He said, "Well, we're out of room." And I kind of laughed. I said, "Well, I think we saw that coming, but I didn't see it coming this fast," which was indicative that there's a good market here for the company.
San Angelo has offered us the ability to build a very, very strong team of people. It's also a little more strategically located than just being in the Permian, Midland, Odessa area, because from San Angelo we can easily reach New Mexico and Odessa, Midland area. It's an hour and a half away. We can also reach the South Texas area and the Eagle Ford, as well as Oklahoma.
And then, of course, kind of the crowning achievement of 2023 is the grand opening of their new facility.
This is actually an expansion to our current 3 sites that we have here in San Angelo. With it being an 8-acre site, we have about 14 storage tanks compared to our 4, 5 that we had previously. We have a telemetry system on all our storage tanks so we can actively see material levels at all times. We have a very detailed lab that we're able to have consistent results and samples that we can provide to our customers. We have 2 chemists on site that can do quality control.
We're a little unique in the fact that we source our raw materials directly from manufacturers throughout the entire process, from procurement, supply chain, manufacturing, all the way through delivery to the customer is completely within our control.
Anytime a customer comes to us, they always know they're going to get the same at all times. Consistency actually keeps customers loyal. That's a strength that we have and we've been able to maintain in the market, and it gets out there.
Well, when we started SMC in 1996, we worked out of our apartments and homes. We did everything ourselves. We started with basically no capital at all.
It was about just supplying products and trying to provide our customer with a competitive advantage. We have worked very hard on establishing a very solid supply chain by hiring the best-in-class people. So I think what sets us aside from other companies is an ultra focus in keeping our word.
As the world gets less and less personal and these companies get larger and larger, there's a need for a more personal touch where people can talk to individuals, build relationships, and we kind of call this a different kind of chemistry.
Ten years ago, we noticed a surge in renewable companies looking for opportunities in the Tom Green County, San Angelo area. We're a big oil and gas area, a lot of natural gas under the ground, and that's a big part of our economy. But there was a lot of interest from landowners in exploring opportunities to support the renewable energy sector.
as a native from the state of Texas. Texas is a really good place to build renewable projects. We got a lot of big open space, plenty of wind resource. We got plenty of sunlight. We also have good infrastructure.
It's important for our region to not just rely on one form of energy production. The diversity is key to making sure that our economy is well balanced.
We do not have a large industrial waste. That means that the majority of the taxes that we collect have to come from individual landowners and homeowners. And so anything that we can do to help offset those taxes, we try to look at that. The advantages with solar, it brings additional tax dollars that our constituents don't have to fork up. It can be a pretty good neighbor.
I've been more proud of the people and how invested on this project in helping out the community. Anytime that we find the opportunity to volunteer to any organization here in San Angelo, we take that opportunity and we give back.
We've had different community outreach events. We did an appreciation event for the workforce on site, and we use 100% local vendors, and then the small local vendors, making sure that we can stimulate the economy and help out and give back.
Angelo Solar is going to bring a lot of opportunities for people. It's a big boom for the economy of San Angelo and this area with this project. We create jobs and stability.
I never thought about construction. I was nervous not having a background in construction, and now I love it. Every day I learn something new. Literally, every single day someone teaches me something, whether it's big or small. Being able to learn how solar works, I feel like I found my place in renewable energy. I think it's important for counties to consider renewable energy because you're providing work for people within your county or your city. It provides energy to our grid, and when I give back, so why not bring it to something that in the future give back to you time and time again.
As part of our relationship building and media outreach, we wanted to show you two videos, one by CNN, where we were featured on CNN last year by Gabe Cohen. Gabe Cohen came to San Angelo to do a report on the interesting interplay between renewables and the O&G sector. And then the final video will show a couple of portions of, we're not going to show the whole thing, is a television program in Germany called Deutsche Welle. They have a series called Made in Germany, and they featured San Angelo in that show, which aired in the fall of last year. We wanted to show you that too.
The vast plains of West Texas aren't just oil and gas country anymore.
There it is.
On Allen Gully's cotton farm outside San Angelo, the boom is above ground, a sprawling solar farm. This lifelong Republican and his neighbors are leasing roughly 700 acres to an energy company, making hundreds of thousands of dollars each year to allow these panels on their land.
It's rocking chair money. It's money that will come every year.
San Angelo is one of many rural Republican communities betting big on renewable energy.
It's not just all about drilling and exploration.
Michael Looney heads economic development for the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce, recruiting energy companies to build at least 9 solar and wind farms near their small city of 100,000 people.
They're providing a really strong revenue source.
Did you get pushback?
We really didn't. They have some political pushback in certain communities that find them to be perhaps not a really good fit, but in Tom Green County, we found that there was a perfect fit.
Clean energy remains a divisive political issue in states like Texas.
Oil and gas is king in Texas.
But right now, 18 of the top 20 U.S. districts for wind and solar generation are represented by Republicans. These rural regions have the space and the elements needed for these projects.
The bill, as amended, is passed.
The nearly $370 billion climate bill, part of the Inflation Reduction Act, recently passed without a single Republican vote. some calling it a gift to elite liberal states. But a White House analysis projects 2/3 of the investment from the bill, including hundreds of thousands of jobs, will go to red states, with projects planned in Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Ohio, just to name a few.
It's going to do nothing but help to stimulate more of these types of projects.
Roughly 1/4 of Texas electricity comes from renewables, and the number's rising. In Water Valley, a rural town outside San Angelo, a group of ranchers are housing this massive wind farm, making more than $10,000 per year for each turbine they allow on their land.
It was a business decision.
Yeah, business decision, yes.
Tim Teagarden is one of them.
I feel like it's really benefited our community.
Down the road, the school district is using tax money from the project to build a new technical education lab, athletic facility, and a large cafeteria to replace this current one.
How much will all this construction cost?
Right now, we're looking at about $17 million.
And how much of that is coming from the renewable projects?
About 80 to 85%.
Superintendent Fabian Gomez says more than half of his students come from low-income families.
It gives them an opportunity that otherwise they wouldn't have, and we couldn't provide it.
What's often framed as a red versus blue issue may become much blurrier as more rural regions tap into clean energy incentives.
There are people who support renewable energy because it's clean, and there are people who support renewable energy because it's a way to make money, and they're not mutually exclusive.
And some Republicans, like Alan Gulley, are all in.
Long after I'm gone, it's going to take care of all of my children and possibly grandchildren.
He bought a plug-in hybrid and is on the list for an electric pickup.
Clean, it's the future. There's no question it's the future.
Do you see renewables as a red or blue issue?
I guess I do, but I don't think it should be.
Gabe Cohen, CNN, San Angelo, Texas.
Golf play.
Made in Germany series. So we're going to start with the intro, and then we're going to slide ahead to the part that speaks about renewables versus gas and oil and how they work together in the region.
Can organic oils fuel a greener future? It's a question that
Are there any questions so far?
Afterwards, Laura could send us the link and we could watch it.
Yeah, we've got the
or
links and we'll
something.
send that on. Probably be worth a look. It's a nice program, it's very well done. Are there any questions?
Questions from the board? No? Okay.
If I might, just to sum up, the folks at these guys are not just looking at recruitment projects, but they're also looking at how we can help existing companies through our business retention expansion program, which City Council is very much interested in. So we'd like to keep focused on that as well, and just want the board and the community to know that we are looking at those existing projects as well, or existing companies as well. As a matter of fact, when we go into executive session, we'll be talking about 2 business retention expansion projects in executive session as well, although I can't go into that now.
Yeah, and on that note, just keep looking at from that angle. What is there a formal process for any small businesses that may be interested to see if they qualify for a program? What's the channels like? I know that people have reached out to me. I've put them in contact with you, Michael, just if, they have any questions and so forth. But is there a formal process for anyone who's, watching, this or is interested and maybe wants to know what first kind of steps to take?
The first step is through the building of a relationship, and that doesn't have to be a very elaborate process. It's really just a question of a phone call, an email, or a personal visit, where we usually go out to the site. Sometimes they'll come see us, meet over at the Business Resource Center, headquarters of COSA-DC's operation, just to understand what their goals are. What are their immediate needs? What are their long-term goals? What's their 10-year plan? What's their marketplace look like? And how can COSA-DC, the Chamber of Commerce, and all of our other partners, whether it's Howard College, SAISD CTE program for workforce, the county, how they can all work together to try to create a customized package that will support these operations and sustain them into the future based on their growth projections of where they're going to be positioned within their respective markets. So really it starts off with just a simple relationship building exercise. The exercise then will create a mutual understanding of what those needs are, and then it's really a very simple form, which we will provide, or Bob and Nora will provide to the customer, and they can fill it out. It's a one-page form that just describes briefly what their needs are, including their financial needs, their capital needs, their facility needs, and then once it's reviewed, it's brought before this body for further discussion. It's worth noting that, as we will do here in a little bit, these discussions are confidential. We have had some companies that have been reticent to discuss what their plans are because they fear that their plans might be aired in public and alarm staff and inform their competitors of what their strategic moves are. So that is all done confidentially. It is only brought to the public eye and made public once the project is going for final approval, which is required by law, which makes sense when you're using municipal funds. We find that probably roughly half of the companies, the existing incumbent companies in San Angelo, want to take advantage of COSA-DC's capabilities of deploying capital. A lot of them really want data, they want workforce information, and they want to understand the overall growth projections of the San Angelo market. And then the other half will want the same, but they will have some capital requirements. So that's a little bit about how that process works.
Max, if I could, if they'll just give us a call, we'll help them through the process. What's your phone number, Mike? 655-4136. Ask for
325.
Ask for Mike.
655-4136. That is the Chamber of Commerce number.
As Mike pointed out, the process can be involved, but these guys make it easy for the applicants. They help screen, help develop a concept that can be approved, and then Bob and Nora help shepherd it through the approval process. So, but it starts with that phone call to the chamber. 655-4136.
It's a fast process too. As you know, we have a regular, daily, multiple times per day communication network between the COSA-DC staff, Michael Dane, Chamber of Commerce, and all of our other partners. The COSA-DC team and the Chamber's Economic Development team really, for all practical purposes, are the same body. We're the same cohort. We work that closely together. And so information is shared very rapidly, and so there's not a lot of delays. A lot of people think if you're involving a municipality, it's going to be extremely formal and very slow and very cumbersome. It is not. It is a fast process, and decisions are made quickly.
Okay. And I would think, just to your point, Michael, as far as, just from my past experience, just when people have approached me, I've obviously sent them your way as well. And I've also encouraged them to participate in the small business competition, right, that the Small Business Development Center puts on. I think those are two good opportunities to engage local businesses and for them to kind of look into, because obviously the Small Business Development Center as well will, guide them and help them with that process. Because sometimes if they're a small business, they may not have a 10-year plan, right? They're just trying to make it day by day, and some guidance and assistance in helping them think strategically and, long-term, may contribute obviously to their success as well.
Max, that is a very good point. Nora has worked to streamline that competition process, so even that we're trying to move quicker on.
All right.
So absolutely call, and we'll see if we can help.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. Well, thank you, Michael. Any
Well, that's
questions
it for
from the
the
board or feedback?
Public presentation. Thank you all very much.
Okay, well, super. Well, thank you. We'll move on to the closed session. Item 6, executive session under the provision of Government Code Title 5, Open Government Ethics, Subtitle A, Open Government, Chapter 551, Open Meetings, Subchapter D, exceptions to the requirement that meetings be open under the following sections. A, Section 551.087, Business Prospect Negotiations regarding BREP Project OTR-2. B, Section 551.072, Deliberations about real property regarding sale of 7.23 acres and 17 acres at the industrial park. And C, Section 551.087, Business Prospect Negotiations regarding Project Punch, which is also a BREP item project. It's 9:48. We are now in closed session. Thank you, everyone. From closed session, it is 10:47. Item number 7, follow-up and administrative issues. A, consideration and possible action of items discussed in closed session if needed, and there are none. B, announcements and consideration of future agenda items. Do we have any?
Actually, yes. So I would like to see if at the next meeting we could possibly get an update on the railport. And the reason why I ask is I pass that thing several times. I mean, I'm at the landfill all the time, so I see the railport daily. And I don't see a whole lot of activity going on out there. I would just like to, and it could be quick, just where are we, what's going on? Because I just don't see a lot, and I just would like to know what's going on out there, so.
Joe, would you like that from the perspective of business activity out there, development issues that we think about regularly? Is there a perspective you'd like us to cover?
Yeah.
Or all of it?
No, it could be simple, right? Where are we today? And what is the plan for the future out there, right? As far as it being utilized, it being expanded, if it is going to be expanded, I would just like to see what's going on out there because I see it every day. So I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Sounds good. Any other items? No? Okay. If not, then we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have first by Director Mantue, second by Director Jones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We are adjourned. It's 10:49. Thank you, everyone.